Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Daily Huddle, your motivation playbook with me, life coach Fran Zanny. So, warning, today is going to be a bit longer because I'm going to take you through the tools I use to be more self aware. I have a lot, but all you really need to do is pick one to focus on, and your self awareness will increase immensely. So, let's just jump in. So, tools that I use to be more self aware. First and foremost, meditation. This is the ultimate way to sit with your thoughts. It's also the most uncomfortable way to sit with your thoughts. You have the chance to realize what your thoughts are. I think this is my mind during meditation, right? I keep obsessing about that conversation. How those thoughts make you feel, both physically and emotionally. And I really harp on the physically part too. So, emotionally, I'm super embarrassed I said that. And then physically, my throat feels like a dragon. My shoulders are really tight. So sitting with your thoughts is super uncomfortable. I know, I get it. I do it for 40 minutes a day. But remind yourself, you are safe. Literally. Like you're probably sitting in a chair on the floor somewhere alone. You're safe. And all you need to do is let those thoughts come to the surface. I also want to encourage during meditation and during any time to notice the good too. We focus a lot about how we feel when we're feeling negative, and I truly believe that in order to make manifest the things you want, you need to understand how to visualize the things you want, and that includes good feelings. So notice the good too. So the idea of owning, a coffee shop or a bed and breakfast makes me feel lightheaded in a fun way, and tingles in my thighs. So how does it feel when you have good thoughts? Use the time of meditation to observe everything about yourself. Just as a side note, is meditation. That is not the point of meditation self-awareness. It is just a beautiful benefit. But yes, so meditation is my very first and very favorite self-awareness tool. Secondly, assessments. So, assessments on all broad scales. So these are a great way to get different perspectives on who you are. And I love everything from the serious ones like DISC, Myers-Briggs. I loved Berkman, and my personal favorite is the Energy Leadership Index Assessment, which I use with my clients. I'm a master practitioner. I'm totally biased, but I do love it. And yeah, so those are great, but I also love the silly ones online, like which Harry Potter house are you? And of course I'm Gryffindor because I'm loyal, So I think that any type of assessment, what animal, all those things are a fun, interesting way to get to know yourself. I also love astrology. I don't know if that would fall under assessments, but I learn a lot about myself through the zodiac. And honestly, anything that you tell me to take a couple minutes, fill out a survey, and figure things out about myself, I'll do it. So like chakra stuff, I don't remember the names, but I've done dozens. I'm always doing them. I think this is a great self-awareness tool, from the super serious ones to the silly ones that tell you what Disney character you are. So assessments. Next, journaling. So I know a lot of people have pause about journaling, about writing things down. I totally did too. When I started journaling a couple years ago, seriously journaling, I've been trying to create a journal practice since I was probably 10 years old. But I started writing a letter to my alter ego. I wished my name was Faye at some point. So I started writing letters to Faye, and I wanted to feel like I was talking to someone. And even now in my journals, I do feel like I'm talking to someone, but I don't address it to anyone. I just go in at this point. I also used to be paranoid about people reading my journal. So I started, when I started journaling consistently, I started with the Day One app. It's a journal app. I still use it for other things, but that way it had a password. I also gave myself permission to delete anything I wrote, but I had to write it out first. I'm going to skip to the end. I never deleted anything. I also have stacks on stacks of handwritten journals at this point that no one's ever wanted to read, and I imagine if they did, it would be a sad handwritten book for them to read, and they would stop reading it immediately. So journaling, that's where I started a hack to start. Set a timer 5, 10, 15 minutes where you can do nothing but journal, and it's either nothing or journal. And at first you're going to sit there and you're like, I have nothing to write, but then it'll just start to vomit out of your fingers. So, or thumbs. So journaling. Next, talk therapy. So that can look like talking to a therapist or your trusted friend. And right now, for me, my form of talk therapy is going on drives alone by the water and talking to myself. It's totally weird and it always feels amazing. Next, coaching. If you have a good coach, they should be reflecting your brilliance at you all the time. Coaching is an entire relationship of reflecting and pulling out who you truly are so you can optimize yourself. I feel like it's such a cheat job because all I have to do is tell you about how awesome you are, and how I know how awesome you are is that you tell me about yourself and I reflect it back to you in a way that reminds you how to optimize and that you already know how to do this. It's incredible. It's literally a self-reflection tool with a professional. I can't harp on it more. I am a coach, I have a coach, and I coach myself. So I can't say enough about coaching, especially as a self-awareness tool. You don't hear yourself. You don't hear your thoughts. You don't hear, and having someone tell you what you just said, even though you said it, you didn't hear it. It's crazy. It's amazing. Take me up on it, right? So coaching. Next, feedback. So this is super powerful because you cannot just be self-aware by looking internally. There's so much that we think about ourselves that is not reflected outward. I had this huge, block in my head that I was a mean girl. And if I've been mean to you, I'm sorry. But on a very large scale, I'm a very kind and nice person. And I had to, it wasn't until people told me or I asked, am I mean, that people were like, no. So feedback from friends, family, coworkers. I make my clients interview people to learn more about their strengths. And this is just so important because you really need to understand how the world views you. But this must be done with such caution, right? You should not listen to every Tom, Dick, or Harry. Yeah, you should not. You should get feedback from people who have a vested interest in your success, from people you can trust, from people who are emotionally intelligent and won't project their insecurities and biases onto you. Unfortunately, that's not always your boss. That's not always your mom. That's not always that guy on Instagram you almost hooked up with in college. It's a very important self-awareness tool, feedback, and it's one you must take and use with very, very serious caution. So feedback. And then finally, mindfulness. So being present with yourself and understanding, being aware of what you're feeling and how you're feeling when it's happening. There's incredible power to being able to notice your feelings as you're feeling them. It's like having an internal narrator. And I think of that movie, Two Can Play That Game, with Vivica A. Fox. So there's one part where Vivica A. Fox's character is purposely provoking Morris Chestnut's character, and she pauses, looks at us in the camera, as he's yelling at her and says, "Woof, he is mad at you." And that's what I think mindfulness looks like as it relates to self-awareness. There's this higher being. I think in the book of The Untethered Soul, he called it the silent observer, Holy Spirit source that you get connected to. And when you feel some type of way, you can just take a deep breath and take stock of what's happening. Are you stressed? Are you happy? Are you excited? But you just notice what you're feeling. You just take that time to be aware. Self-awareness is a practice. It is not a constant state. You cannot just be self-aware and stay there. So really, think about what's one thing you can do to practice being more self-aware. Who is one person you can trust to tell you about your brilliance and your occasional dullness, right? Those small steps today will give you exponential confidence and self-awareness in the future. Thank you for watching the Daily Huddle with me, Life Coach Franzani. Every week I pick a theme, and every day we huddle around a topic so we can create our own playbook for motivation. Actionable steps to stay connected to your goals, show up at your best, and crush it every day. I'll see you here tomorrow to finish our conversation on self-awareness. Give yourself an amazing day.